Hey everybody, Zainab Tungo here, plastic surgeon, fitness, wellness, and well-being coach. I'm talking to us today about negativity, why we should avoid negativity, and probably mention a few ways we can distance ourselves from negativity, especially as concerns the cyberspace, particularly social media groups. And again, particularly social media groups where you don't know a lot of the people. Like sometimes it might just be maybe like a group of, I'm a doctor, let me use an example, maybe like the National Medical Association group, where you don't know a lot of the people, they're just names. And because of that, a lot of people hide under that so-called anonymity of cyberspace to express themselves in one way or the other, and irrespective of how it's going to be perceived by others. Please don't get me wrong, I believe everybody has a right, freedom of expression, but that right, you should realize, has an impact on other people. And I've noticed practically all such groups I'm a part of, there are a few people who the sum of their flow is negative. Their analysis is negative, their submission is negative. I'm not saying it is right, I'm not saying they're wrong either, but everything they have to say is negative, and it does have an effect on us, whether we like it or not. Think about it. If you've seen a particularly gory video, maybe of violence in one way or the other, it tends to loop and plays over and over in your mind for some time. So you need to be careful what you consume, whether on social media or anywhere else. Because science has proven that majority of our thoughts, unless you've programmed yourself to avoid it, are thought loops of past events. So if you're looping over past events, that means you need to be careful what you consume in the present. And one of the ways that negativity affects us is, I don't know if you've read Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth. There's a place where he talks about the pain body. And initially when I listened and read the book, when I listened to the audio version and read the book, I felt, how is it possible that pain in one person can spread around other people? Until something happened to me, sort of to prove to me that there's a lot of truth in what he's saying. I'll just give an example of the one that specifically happened to me. So in my son's school, they do what they call special assembly, and what they do at that special assembly is they call out the best 3 in each class. He was hoping he would get the best, at least one of the best, but he didn't, and he was very moody that day. And that moodiness, somehow, of course, we kind of like, he's just a 9-year-old going about doing his thing. And at one point, out of that annoyance, he ran into me. I was holding a hot cup of coffee, and he got burnt from neck down. That was one. And then, of course, that got everybody's mood down. Everybody was upset, was sad. He got burnt. And somehow, in the process of that burn, I broke my ankle all within a week. And you know, things like that, until I caught myself and told myself, this is that pain initially of a little boy. And things were kind of like going down, and I told myself, no, I'm not going to spiral down with this. Whether you believe this or not, whether you believe that there's something, that pain in one person tends to affect other people or not, still try to distance yourself from negativity, even if it is to avoid the issue of past events, whether positive or negative, looping over. So if you want anything to loop over for you in your mind over and over, whether you want to program your mind or not, wouldn't you rather it was something positive than something negative? So now that I've given a very small example, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. One of the ways I would suggest to distance yourself from it is what I do. Such people, when I've identified them, I tend not to read their posts. And of course, I don't read comments that originate from their posts, except of course, if I read one and it seems to be a positive one, I can now go back. 2, if I do go back, or for some reason I've read what they've said, I sit down and analyze to myself, is there some truth in what they're saying? If it's yes, I take the truth, I forget the analysis. If there's truth in what they said, their analysis is true, I tell myself, is there anything I can do about it? If there's something I can do about it, I go ahead and do it. Is there some truth in what they have said? Is there some truth in their analysis? Is there something I can do? Have I done it? And if I have done it, I can go ahead and tell myself, so what positive thing can I get from this? How is it moving me towards my ultimate goal? And then when my thoughts loops around this negative thing, it ends up being positive. And then I can avoid negativity. How about the physical ones? People in your physical space, your office, your co-workers who are negative. I don't sit around them, especially when the discussion starts to go towards the analysis that I know is going to be negative. Excuse me. So, in summary, what I'm saying is, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, negativity affects your thinking. It affects you. So what have you got to lose by saying, I am going to avoid that negativity? Even if it's not because it's going to affect other people around me, but because I do not want negative thoughts looping over and over in my mind. Because like it or not, you are what you think. You become what you think. So why don't you work hard and work towards having positivity overall in your life? So until next time, please try as much as possible to avoid negativity. Thank you.